Day 24 of the Irish Coast Cycle saw me waking at Port Arthur near Doonbeg. That's Doonbeg in Donegal now, not Doonbeg in Clare. And today I was going to be heading up to Downings and to Murderhole Beach. The route today was sometimes on Eurovelo 1, but often not. This initial section was around the side of Knockfalla, heading to Falcarra, where I had my breakfast. I'd let cycle travel do the route plotting, so I hadn't really researched where I was actually going, and I was a little alarmed when the road took a turn directly at the bulk of Muckish Mountain. Well, what do the committee have to say to me then? No? Nobody got anything to say? Okay. The road surface here was also pretty rough looking, and I was wondering just how this was going to turn out. I've had a few adventures on previous legs of the trip, particularly at the alleys where rough roads suddenly turned into impassable roads, and I was hoping this wasn't about to happen to me again. But in fact it wasn't looking great. I was charging along down here and then I was going, oh, that's a river. Am I going to have to ford the river? And so kind of just went charging through it, a little rough and bumpy, bump, 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 slowly I go, only to then realise that I had gone off map route. And in my haste, I should have stopped here and I should have double checked before crossing the river, but in fact I did not cross the river, then had to turn around and come back again. Once back and on the other side, I'm cycling along and going, oh, this is definitely an old rail line. Hey, you can always sort of tell, but this elevation above the landscape is not something you'd have done if you were building a very small road through here. And in fact, I would find out at the other end that I had come down the old rail line that ran to Burtonport. No complaints, obviously, because this is certainly very beautiful. However, when you're not expecting it, you haven't actually planned this out, and it's getting rougher and rougher. You are kind of going, okay, is this just going to be a dead end? My planning for trips as such tends to consist of working out train times and then spotting places I think I can probably wild camp. Use Google Maps for that most often, and then looking for various historic spots on the route that I should probably stop at. I almost never actually do what I should do, which is take a detailed look at the route and compare that with, say, Google Maps and see what is a road and what is not a road. On the other hand, I do like the spontaneity this involves. Perhaps I'd have chickened out if I had looked at this in advance and realised it was going to be a rough track and I'd not have done it. And if that would have been the case, well then I'd have lost one of the best experiences of the trip. This was an absolutely beautiful still day. It was extremely nice cycling across this. It was rough, but I had the mystery of where I was going. You've all this beautiful heather. You've almost nobody at all on the track. I did run into a couple of walkers, and it made it into a bit of an adventure. Also, right at the top of the track, just as the pass over Muckish, there's a beautiful lake with a nice set-up bench beside it. You'll have noticed that at this end of the trail there is a tarmac surface. It looks like they may have been working on it, and it's possible that tarmac surface has now been extended over the entire trail, so if you come up the other end you'll also find tarmac, but yes, definitely it's a lot easier to cycle out from the top and down than it was to cycle up it. A map of the old Donegal train routes, but I was off to Crestlock and off from there onto quiet roads to Downings. So centre image is Muckish Mountain. I came across the ridge beside that this morning. Nice. I'll be heading over there, and I suspect up to the left from the looks of things, and then down there, nice view to the lake. But at the bottom of that hill I spotted a lovely looking pub in Glen and stopped for a couple of pints and a chat with the barman. Tonight was my first B&B night of this leg of the trip. I was looking forward to that, having a shower, etc. And then after that, I set off on about a 20-kilometre round-trip cycle to try and get to Murderhole Beach. However, access wasn't open in the evening, but it did mean I had a fairly excellent sunset trip back along the peninsula, which has a number of really fantastic beaches on it, as well as a couple of very impressive viewpoints, particularly at Roskilde, where I got to watch the setting sun. Of course, as with other headland cycles in Ireland, it's pretty tough going. There are a lot of hills, but it's worth it for the views. I would imagine in some of the traffic here might be quite bad because there are an awful lot of mobile home sites on the peninsula, I guess because of all the beaches, so that could be a bit irritating, but this was now the very end of August, the start of September, so it was pleasant enough for me. Once back at the B&B, I headed to the small bay across the road for my now traditional glass of wine in a collapsible cup as I watched yet another magnificent sunset, somewhat disturbed in this case by midges. I think as you get up to Donegal, the midges start to get as bad as they can be in Scotland. And that's day 24 of the Irish Coast Cycle. If you're enjoying these videos, do give the channel a follow and please do give this one a thumbs up. Thank you.